Good morning, Spokane. It is, oh boy, it's April 27th, 2021. About 3 in the morning. I start early, so you don't have to. So, if you've been watching any of my videos, you're weird. But if you have, you know I've been kind of not happy with District 81 and this business entity using our taxpayer dollars to build a playground in the middle of downtown Spokane for our high schoolers because that's bad for high schoolers. I understand that people like to project a beautiful, bright future. Look at this, how great it would be. Oh, and you have to do that, but that's a sales pitch. Sales pitches never turn out. So, Murphy's Law, where it came from, who cares? But it started a long. In case you're too young to remember what Murphy's Law is, here's a good example. Murphy's Law, expecting the unexpected. Does the phone always ring when you're just dashing out the door? Does your PC crash when you're in the middle of writing that really important piece of work and you haven't saved it for 20 minutes? You better believe it, Daz. And if you're planning to get decorative lights out for your seasonal celebration at the last minute, just what do you think is going to happen when you test them? Now, here at Mind Tools, I don't know what the fuck that is, we often emphasize that feeling out of control is a major factor in feeling stressed. All right, whatever, we get that. Understanding the theory. In its simplest form, Murphy's Law states, if anything can go wrong, it will. However, as with many successful business theories, the original law has been extended over time to cover specialist areas, several of which are given below. Project planning. If anything can go wrong, it will, usually at the most inopportune time. Performance management. If someone can get it wrong, they will. Risk assessment. If several things can go wrong, the one you least like to happen will occur. Practical creativity. If you could think of 4 ways that something can go wrong, it will go wrong in a 5th way. These are fucking rules of the universe. Origins of the law. Believe it or not, Edward J. Murphy was a real person. No, really. In fact, he was a major in the U.S. Air Force in the 1940s, specializing in the development of engineering. As much of his work involved testing experimental designs, he was frequently faced with things that didn't exactly go to plan. Scholars differ on precisely what words were originally used when the phrase Murphy's Law was then first coined, but the meaning is clear. There's your historical update. There we go. Murphy's Law. Everything that can will go wrong. So when I see plans, I look at those plans and I go, well, what could go wrong here? I'm just pessimistic that way. When I see things that, my mind's first going, well, that could blow it up. That could ruin it. That could be really bad, right? So when I'm dissecting things, it's not that I'm against the idea of our students having a great stadium and sharing it with the soccer team and cutting down on the annual cost for upkeep and things like that. I go, well, what if things go totally opposite of what we expect, like they usually do with government? What if the downtown situation gets worse because nobody takes my proposals to help the homeless, and so things just keep getting worse, worse, and worse, and worse, and then we stick the teenage high school stadium down there so that our kids have to go down there, attended or unattended, Friday, Saturday evenings, when you have conventions, you have Hoop Fest. What are they going to do during Hoop Fest, right? How are the kids going to get down there when Hoop Fest and Bloomsday is going on? Why are we having to compete with out-of-towners to get to our stadium? So that, what if COVID knocks the soccer schedule around, right? So that the soccer team wants to play tomorrow night, but we had to cancel a football team last week, and now they're lining up. Who gets first pick on the? This is a bad idea. All right, so like I said, I'm back in the game. I'm trying to pay attention to the local issues so I can bring you the local issues and give you my opinion which is pretty much like God on things. Like if I, no, forgive me, for I've sinned many a time. That's it. But here, I watch this. This gives me hope. This gives me hope that Nadine Woodworth, I won't have to run against you and slam dunk on you. I might do it just for fun, though.
2018, Spokane voters approved a $500 million bond. Of that, $31 million was earmarked for a new stadium. That same election, an advisory vote. Should that stadium be at the current Joe Albi site or downtown? Voters overwhelmingly said the Albi site. But it was just an advisory vote. The decision is really up to the school board. Their decision, stick with the voters and greenlight a replacement project at the Albi site. At the last minute, a group of business leaders proposed a third option, modify the project we now know as the Podium.
So that bothers me. So that, because it's a reoccurring theme. We all love the Seahawks. We all love the Mariners. How's the Safeco Field paying off? We had to rename Safeco Field to fund the Mariners. It's now called T-Mobile, which I don't mind T-Mobile. I just, businesses mixed with public interest, the businesses win. Since this public interest deals with our youth, I'm going to say we need to separate them to make sure that we have the say in our child's future, not some fucking business that's trying to get that fucking sweet, sweet public tit. All right? So, last minute they come in and say, hey, let's fucking reduce our overhead by convincing these fucking yahoos, City Council and Nadine Woodworth, that this is a great idea.
Board members were intrigued, but essentially said, too little, too late. In the years since, the Albi project has made real strides. The design phase is almost over. Contracts for construction are expected to go out within the next month. But now, in yet another last-ditch attempt to try to get a downtown stadium, business leaders have a new proposal. The school district would scrap the Albi project and use the remaining funds to build downtown. That stadium would be owned and maintained by the agency that runs the Spokane Arena, the Public Facilities District. And it would go on land next to the arena that agency already owns. A minor league soccer team would come to Spokane and play in the stadium. The school district would use it for football, soccer, and other events. Now that sounds an awful lot like that original proposal back in 2018. But supporters say a lot has changed in those 2 years. For one, the commitment from the United Soccer League to start a team in Spokane. Two, there's now a more detailed plan to provide sufficient parking, and an assurance that parking would be free for school events. Three, the fact that the Public Facilities District already owns the land and would maintain the stadium could help save the school district money, perhaps about $350,000 a year. And four, the economy is in dire need of a kickstart, which supporters say this stadium would provide.
Okay, so let me start right here. The economy is in dire need of politicians to open up. All right? So this is how these fucking shysters will, it's like, come on, of course the economy is dire need. We've got a Biden in office who's about to raise taxes on these people, right? On these very people that supposedly he's going to raise taxes on everybody, but whatever. We'll get into that some other time. But they want to say, yeah, well, we're in dire need, but the economy sucks right now. Well, it sucks right now, not because of business, not because the economy is stagnant because of any actual supply and demand and free markets. It's stagnant because of a tyrannical Washington State governor who one morning dreamt up phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, buckle my knee, tyranny, and that's what's holding us back. We don't need a new development to somehow kickstart our economy. We just need Governor Inslee to eat a dick and stay over in Olympia. All right, so check it out. This is a lie. Did you just see back there all the design plans for that big stadium? If it costs the taxpayer money, more money to build Joe Albi. That means more money into our construction companies and to the people building it than it is the streamlined one or two companies of this private business. You see how that doesn't make sense? If their stadium costs less to build, then that means there's less tax dollars going to the infrastructure of building it, which means less people need to be hired to build it, which means less stimulus to the actual economy because there's actually less people with money in their pockets. While if the Joe Albi Stadium, which is beautiful and big and requires many different types of construction things because we've got lawn care and we've got trees and then we've got under the field heating and plumbing and electricians and all these things, more people are going to benefit from that bigger budget in Spokane than a streamlined budget where they cut corners and make a shitty fucking stadium that doesn't look anything like the original design because it's a private company and they, in the contract, they make sure they can change what they want on the fly without first approval. This is how this bullshit works. It's a bad idea. If we let the soccer company in and they change things around and they build a horrible stadium, well, the politicians are just going to go, that's not what we agreed to. They changed it. And, there was a clause in the fucking contract that we didn't know. It's a bad idea. They're lying. I'm a businessman. I'm a salesman. I'm everything. I know all these people. They're fucking thirsty. I need the blood of the public funding. They want that to lower their overhead, so their profit margin overall. So check it out. And I heard, let's listen. Let's listen on. I'll shut the fuck up.
The importance we're all putting on jobs and how can we help families that are struggling economically. In this project, we now have a study that shows that it'll deliver 8 to 10 times the economic positive impact that building at Joe Albi would.
All right, so here, let me tell you why that's a bullshit way of looking at it. We're not building Joe Albi as a business model for profit. Now, we need to think about that. We want to recoup as much of those tax dollars over the life of Joe Albi that we can, and make it as self-sustaining through ticket sales and hamburger stands and Coke stands, all that. Okay, so we need to that definitely, but the goal of Joe Albi is not to provide Spokane with money, nor is it a business enterprise, even though it's highly business orientated. Okay, so let's listen to this guy again so I can just really slap him around a bit more.
Which supporters say this stadium would provide.
The pandemic, and I think the importance we're all putting on jobs and how can we help families that are struggling economically.
What?
In this project, we now have a study that shows that it'll deliver 8 to 10 times the economic positive impact that building at Joe Albi would.
The board tonight.
Okay, so that's misleading again. Let me tell you what I hear there. Let me tell you what my business mind here. 8 to 10 times the economic impact Joe Albi would. First, we're back to Joe Albi's goal is in no way to stimulate the economy. Joe Albi's goal is to provide a safe, a modern place for our high schoolers and students and soccer teams to go and have a place that's theirs, that's safe, that's modern, good, whatever. That's the goal. But a study shows that over 8 to 10 years, that's what he's leaving out. In 8 to 10 years, a private business is going to bring in more money somehow than a non-business orientated school stadium over 8 to 10. Of course, you fucking dummy, because the stadium is designed for profits, right? But who gets those profits? Not the taxpayers, not the high schoolers. All right? The way they misdirect and try to make it say, yeah, hey, 8 to 10 times the economic impact for our fucking wallets. Now, so they can say this stuff, and hey, the study says, look at all the money goes into blah, 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 blah. Okay. 8 to 10 years from now, we don't know what the economy is going to look like. So if the impact on our economy is 8 to 10 years, 12 to 15 years, 20 years, I don't know. He doesn't cite that. He doesn't go into detail. He's vague. So I'm saying, oh, he's making this point because he can be vague about it, be honest about it, and not get sued for misleading the public. But really, if the impact on our economy takes that long to show any results, 5 to 10 to 15 years, it's probably not worth doing right now for this economy. And again, I'm going to go back to our taxpayer dollars. If the Albi Stadium costs more because of a bigger, broader vision, and so it costs more, that's taxpayer dollars going to local construction companies, local landscaping, local this, local that, local this. Much better for the economy right now than a smaller, probably more privatized building, probably outside contractors. I'm telling you, these people, this business organization, whoever, are hustling you. They're hustling us, and they're endangering our teenagers, and that bothers me.
More public input before they weighed in, but they certainly had their share of questions.
Why get the ownership of the stadium?
Why should the school district use bond dollars to subsidize the stadium? And if
Yeah, I like this gal's question.
this venture is so viable, why not use private dollars to bring it here?
Yeah, there's a reason. That's an excellent question. There's a reason they're desperate for taxpayer money, because it brings the overhead way down, and they can get their vision implemented. They're not worried about our kids. Yeah, they're trying to make it so it works, but trust me, in the contract, look, okay, who remembers the IMAX fiasco? Who remembers the riverfront renovation fiasco? They said this amount, and we won't do this, this, and this. It all got signed, and the next thing you know, it went to this amount, and they said, fuck that, we're doing it anyways. Historically, these bids and contracts on major government things don't ever go like this. This is why, at the very least, we don't want businesses profiting off the already corrupt system of bidding and government. No, I'm sorry. Especially because they're probably not for Spokane. All right? I don't mind big business guys coming out of town, build your own stadium. If it's such a great idea, why can't they lease our stadium for a few years and see if soccer actually picks up around it? Oh, no. They want the lucrative downtown market so that people who aren't interested in soccer, after work might come down, after a beer might come down. Those same people might be coming down and watching football games, and our children be exposed to high executives who are just looking to have a good time, get drunk with the buddies, watch some high school football. I don't want my kids around that. There's a difference between driving up to Albi after work downtown and having some beer. That's kind of weird, right? That's kind of weird. If a 36-year-old executive at Wells Fargo's bank or whatever down there, him and his buddies that were all 28 to 36, drove out to Albi to watch some football games they had no kids in, and that would be weird. But if it's after work and the kids are playing high school, let's go over there and rough a few of them up now that we're 36 years old. bully morale a little bit because that's what the execs do. It's a bad idea. Bad idea. All right, everyone. That's my video, my first video, the Spokane experience. Resist COVID thinking. Cancel culture. And don't defund the police. Reform the unions. Have a good day, everyone.